From flights, we now go to something na hindi nalalayo sa biyahe. Let's talk about Courier Solutions na talaga namang essential sa buhay nating lahat. And it's time to share his company's Courier Solutions for us. Please welcome the CEO and co-founder of Shipmates, a shipping platform that connects different e-commerce channels, including websites and social commerce, to local on-demand and standard couriers. Before Shipmates, our speaker helped grow e-commerce in different countries by launching over 20 Philippine brands with the company expands. Let's say hello to the Shipmates CEO and co-founder, Mr. Josh Supan. Hello, Sir Josh. Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. All right, cool. I'm assuming that there's a lot of SMEs here who are either in the e-commerce space already, or there's a lot, or starting already in e-commerce. I'm also assuming there's a lot of brick and mortar brands, like old traditional companies, who are finally trying to explore to get to e-commerce, which is very understandable now, seeing that e-commerce is really booming in the Philippines. I can go into data later, showing how much e-commerce is really, growing in the Philippines and how exponential it really is. So, but before I do that, before I meet all of you and answer your questions, I want to introduce myself. My name is Josh Supan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Shipmates, and like Grace said, it's a shipping platform that connects different businesses. So whether you're selling online through Shopify, social commerce, it connects all your websites into one place, which we call Shipmates. And then from Shipmates, you can connect to any courier here in the Philippines, whether it's on demand and standard. So whether it's like Lala Move or Mr. Speedy for quick deliveries, or traditional deliveries like XDA and Trigo. And the reason we started this is because my experiences, I want to like introduce myself for a few minutes first. My experiences, I used to work for the biggest mall here in the Philippines. After I graduated, I had an option to work for the biggest mall. And the reason why I chose that mall to work for them is because I knew I wanted to get into e-commerce eventually, like after graduating. But before I did that, I want to understand the brick and mortar in the Philippines before doing e-commerce. And this was back in 2015, 16, like e-commerce was nothing. Like I remember at the time, the brands here, like, the big name brands that you can see in the malls, they don't have websites yet. The only players we had here in the Philippines truly in e-commerce is like Shopee and Lazada. And they were also just starting out, right? Before. So I shifted from that into an e-commerce enabler startup where I launched over 200 brands here in the Philippines. So it was their first time to get online. It was their first time having a website. And this was back in 2018. So basically the brick and mortar brands I had before, I was the one who shifted them over into e-commerce at around early 2018, 2017. And the reason we started Shipmates is because, one, building websites is hard. And building websites is now, or going online is very easy for a lot of people. Like a lot more brands, or a lot more solo entrepreneurs are just going online on their own fruition. They don't need like an e-commerce enabler to help them go online. They can just go on Shopify. It's so easy for them to build a website by themselves. But what's really stopping their growth is the logistics side. Because I remember before we even started Shipmates, the brands who were selling online, what they would do, how they would ship their items online would be, let's say they have a Shopify. What they would do is they would download the orders from their Shopify and then physically bring the packages to a mall, like drop it off in an LBC. They write it down. They write down they write on waybills physically there when they get there, and LBC gives them like a paper for tracking their orders. And that didn't make sense to us as a company, because okay, if it's online, it's already online, right? You have the website there. Why can't it directly connect to the courier also? Or essentially, why can't you call the courier straight from your website? So that's why we started Shipmates. We wanted to give the online sellers a different experience when it comes to selling online, where they don't have to worry about the shipping anymore. And the reason why we built Shipmates is really because e-commerce is, we started Shipmates last year in August. But the reason why we really started it and pivoted from our own company to Shipmates is because
e-commerce is growing so much lately in the Philippines. So in 2019, I can remember that the value of e-commerce, I'm not sure if it's GMV or total value, the total value was only at around 3 billion. But because of the pandemic, since malls are closing down, buyers are turning are more willing to buy online from non-marketplace sellers. People are now turning to buy to online sellers and to online buyers themselves, right? So in 2021, from 3 billion in 2019, it became 17 billion in 2021. That's a massive growth, and that's a record for the Philippines. And what's so intense about it is it's just gonna grow even more. It's not gonna stop at 17 billion. It's gonna reach. It might end at 24 billion by the end of 2022, and even more during the following year. Since Filipinos are now, so we have a massive modding culture, right? But e-commerce is already making, because of the pandemic, because of 3 years of getting used to buying on stuff online and selling stuff online, people are now turning into hybrids where they still like going to malls and stuff, but e-commerce is now playing a huge role in their lives, and that's the experience that we want to give them also. And for the SMEs here who are selling online on, let's say, their Shopify's, or you know what, it's so funny. Like there are a lot of sellers who are just selling through Messenger, through WhatsApp, through Viber. There's a lot of you. If you're here and you're saying that yeah, e-commerce is growing, but that's usually just the marketplaces, right? Like Lazada and Shopee. You would be wrong, because in 2017 and 18, the number of parcels shipped in the Philippines, 90% came from the marketplaces like Lazada and Shopee. But last year, it dropped down to 70%. 70% of the parcels are coming from the major marketplaces. The 30% of the parcels are coming from different areas like social commerce, Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento. There's so much more. So similar to a lot of Southeast Asian countries, the Philippines is shifting from a marketplace dependent society to a D2C play. And it's going fast. So a lot more people are trusting the Shopify, the Instagram stores they see. They're trusting the solo entrepreneurs from Shopify. And that's another thing. The SMEs who are selling online are usually a solo entrepreneur. They're unregistered. They're just doing it by themselves. They're not like a big corporation. But imagine that solo entrepreneur. That solo entrepreneur is doing everything. They're talking to suppliers, they're posting on Facebook, they're posting on Instagram, they're building a community on themselves. And before, they would do shipping manually themselves. They would bring it to an LBC or to go, whatever, they'll drop it off there, write down in their packages. And that's honestly a waste of time. Like if you're a solo entrepreneur, you have to spend majority of your time, not on the operational shipping side, you have to spend it on growing your business in terms of marketing and stuff. One story we had is one of our shippers, she sells cold brew, the coffee. She sells it on Facebook. But of course, since it's food, you have to ship it right away. You can't put that in a LBC parcel or to go parcel and leave it there, and that won't work. You have to like book Lalamove, right? Say book a Lalamove for it to deliver. So how she would do her shipping before is when she was just growing her business, she had like 9 to 10 orders. She in Lalamove, right? You can't book another Lalamove unless the first Lalamove finishes. So she would have multiple phones out when it comes to her deliveries. Like she would have 9. One phone would have 3 apps altogether, and she'd have multiple phones altogether, just booking one by one by one by one. And when Shipmates came into the picture, it changed her life, because now all her orders from Shopify go straight into Shipmates, and then she can choose Lalamove for the 9 orders, not booking it one by one, and 9 deliveries, 9 riders just go to her automatically. Quickly, sir host, if you can show the photo I shared. Yeah, quick. All right, cool. So yeah, so this is like the TLDR of what Shipmates does. Whether you're a small, medium, or large enterprise, whether you're just a Facebook seller, whether you're an Instagram seller, a Shopify seller, a Magento seller, it doesn't matter. What we can do is we can connect your online platform, we call it an online platform, into Shipmates. And then from Shipmates, you can choose a courier for shipping automatically. No need for you to have a contract with a courier, call a courier manually. No need for you to physically bring packages. No need for you to have 9, 10 phones out to book Lalamove. all of that is being done by Shipmates already. You can automatically choose a courier, and then from there you can print a waybill from Shipmates. From Shipmates, will send the tracking data to your customer also, so you don't have to do it anything manually anymore. So that's the TLDR of our product. So I'll stop sharing real quick. Okay, so and the reason why we're focusing on the logistics side, because any person in e-commerce would know this. There's usually three pillars when it comes to starting e-commerce here. Number one would be the channel. So whether you want to sell through Facebook, through Messenger, doesn't matter. The second one is payments, and there's a lot of startups in the Philippines now fixing the payments problem in the Philippines. There's like Paymongo, Send It. There's NextPay. Those guys are really awesome on the payment side. But what's underserved here in the Philippines is the logistics side, because the logistics side, bigger logistics players are still trying to solve the problem of logistics in the Philippines by being their own courier. And I would argue always that that's not how you do it in the Philippines. Like big companies have tried to come to the Philippines, try to be their own courier, but it's either they close in 2 or 3 years or whatever, and that's really a problem that we're facing right now. The way you solve shipping in the Philippines is not by being your own courier. You solve it by aggregating the couriers into one platform. And on the courier side, they're happy working with Shipmates because now they can connect, they can get orders from Shopify directly. They can get orders from Facebook directly. And that's the added service we have for the couriers as well. So if you're a courier here, we'd love to work with you also in the future, right? So that's where we come in, right? We eliminate the entire manual process of shipping. We do it all automatically here in Shipmates. And my next point will be why we're doing this and for who we're doing this for. What's interesting for me is I learned this recently. There's actually 16 million online businesses in the Philippines. 16 million. And this came out like last year. This is a record for the Philippines. There's so many online sellers. And honestly, if you want to be an online seller too, this is the perfect time for you. It's very lucrative. It's just growing and growing. And it's a good place for you to start your business, right? But what's interesting here is there's actually, from the 16 million, only 15 million of that are actually unregistered solo entrepreneurs. And those are the guys who really need a solution like Shipmates. Those are the guys who, again, are solo entrepreneurs doing it by themselves from their condo, from their home. And we built Shipmates for those guys. We built Shipmates for you, the SMEs. We're not building it for like bigger marketplaces yet. Right now, all it does is it connects your online platforms to couriers here in the Philippines. So yeah, I can, that's my entire topic. I can take questions. Is that okay?
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, now start with the question. Thank you so much. Sir Josh, can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're good to go. We have questions coming in. And we have here's our first question for you. From Mr. Arnold Padilla. His question is, how do you choose the right courier for you? How do you choose the right courier for you?
That's a good question. We don't choose the courier for you. We give the options of couriers for you. So let's say you have a delivery in, I don't know, Zamboanga or Jensen. So we automatically eliminate the couriers who can't service it. You'll see the couriers who can do it. Eventually, we'll give you data also that this courier for you specifically is good in this region. And those couriers will be available for you. So we don't choose the courier for you. We give you the option to choose the courier. On the flip side, if you're a traditional seller on e-commerce, you can do the deliveries like 5 to 7 day SLA with a standard courier. But if you want to give the package right away to your buyer, you can also do that with the on-demand couriers we have on Shipmates.
All right, thank you very much. We now move on to the next question from JM Espinosa. His question is, what happens if the delivery commitments are missed?
Right.
What will happen?
Yeah, it does happen. Sadly, that is the main problem in the Philippines, right? We're a country made out of 7,000 islands, and you think that a lot of the deliveries are just Manila or Cebu, but it's not. It's going everywhere here in the Philippines now. And honestly, if they do miss their timelines, there's only so much we can do about it. But what you can do in Shipmates is we do filing claims for you automatically. So the moment, let's say, the delivery is supposed to be delivered in 7 days, let's say, but if it reaches 8 days, Shipmates actually contacts the courier for you automatically and says that, hey, we have to file for claims for this. So whatever happens, you're gonna get your money. You're gonna get your money back. But one thing that we've been doing really neatly with Shipmates is usually in the Philippines, you can expect around like a 15 to 20% return to sender rate, right? Like that's usually it is, like a return to sender rate here in the Philippines. But with Shipmates, we're happy to say that we've lowered our RTS rate from 15 to 20% to 1.9% with Shipmates, just because everything is done automatically and already. No need for you to do any manual intervention.
All right. I think we still have plenty of time to accommodate more questions, so feel free. Let's maximize this time. That's the beauty of having a short but sweet presentation. Everyone's excited to ask and just to bring in their questions. Okay, more questions coming in. Let's start with the next one. Here's a question from Miss Chelsea. Javier, how much is your service fee and is it per transaction?
Yep. Right now, Shipmates is free to use. You can use it. So we call it a pay-per-use model, where you only pay for every shipment that passes through. And it's as low as 10 pesos for on-demand. So you pay the shipping fee of Lazada, then you pay 10 pesos to Shipmates. But today, if you sign up in our booth, we can give you 50% off for a lifetime. So if you're an online seller and you go to our booth and you take our promo there, your rate for on-demand will only be 5 pesos. And for standard, it's only 10 pesos for every delivery. So I encourage you to drop by our booth.
Yes, drop by their booth. Let me just double check if I heard it right. That's 50% off?
Yes, forever.
Forever! That's
Right.
50% off forever. So please make sure you check their booth today, as in immediately after the talks. Don't forget that. Okay, that's 50% forever. That big discount. Thank you so much. So generous. Now, here's another question. How do we apply? Oh, meron na nag-a-apply, Sir Josh. How to apply and what are the requirements that they need to submit?
Nothing. All you have to do is have an online sell online in some form or capacity. Go to shipmates.app. So it's Shipmates shipmates.app. So app. It's not .com.ph. It's shipmates.app. So just go there. You can easily sign up. It's a very easy sign up process. But if you need help, the moment you sign up, our partnerships team will reach out to you automatically and show you around.
All right. Thank you very much. How about this question, this time from Mahi Ferry? How this would help my current problem in terms of logistics timeline? Logistics timeline naman ang problem niya.
Well, okay. So if you're saying timeline, I'm assuming that your deliveries are taking longer when you give it to a courier and stuff. Now, okay. The thing about e-commerce selling is you really have to give them options, right? Yeah, you don't want, like, even for payments, you don't want to just be cash on delivery or GCash or whatever. You want to give them as many options as possible. Same thing with couriers, right? You want to give them as many options as possible. One major thing we can help you with is, let's say that the delivery you're sending to is also in Manila. If you're from Manila, you want to send it to somebody in Manila also, you can just pick an on-demand courier. And you know that thing where you go to Lalamove and you put down the data, like, okay, name, like Grace Garcera, then address and name and number and all of that. You don't have to do that, right? If it's from Shopify, it goes straight into Shipmates. You can choose an on-demand courier. They get their packages in a few hours. So that's the best we can do for you guys.
Okay, up next, another question from Miss Mai Ferry. Do you have any suggestion on what criteria should I have to consider in choosing the right logistics company?
Well, the beautiful thing.
Do you have any tips?
The beautiful thing of working with Shipmates is you have to commit to one courier. So I would say you can date as many couriers as you want because it's all in Shipmates, right? So, but my tip is really, customers have different experiences with the couriers that you're choosing, right? So some customers really like, let's say, to go. Some couriers like XDE, Quad X, but some on the flip side really hate. They have bad experiences with JNT, let's say, and they don't like them. So
that's where the power of Shipmates comes in, that you can choose whatever courier depending on your customer. Let's say your customer says, please don't use this courier or this courier, use this courier, right? And it's different, and you'd be surprised. It's different for every customer. It's different for every shipper. You have certain preferences. So I would say don't commit to one courier, just date around with Shipmates, I guess.
Thank you very much. We now move on. Another question. Aba, talaga namang ang sipa na yung mga questions ni Miss Mai Ferry. Do you have... Oh, sorry, I'll skip that part. I've already read that earlier. Asked by Miss Lay Hera. Hi, Josh. So it is essentially a one dashboard of all couriers we use, right? But will you give the option courier from your platform itself? Or how both?
Yeah. Yes, it's one singular dashboard for all the couriers. And yes, you can choose a courier. You don't have to go to the courier dashboard anymore. All the couriers are there already. So when, let's say you have your order data and you pick, let's say, Lalamove, it's already automatic. Our system talks to the system of Lalamove for you. So that's where the integrations come in.
Okay. And by the way, Answer Josh, when Shipmates are being so generous, nagtataka lang ang ating mga SMEs. How is Shipmates able to give 50% discount forever sa mga nandito ngayon? Ang galing, ha? Paano yun?
How? Well, okay. So, again, like I was saying earlier, we're also betting that the SMEs are really growing the Philippines, right? So, we don't want to be greedy with their fees or whatever. And as much as possible, we also raised money. So we're in the startup seed. We also raised money, so we have enough to kick back to you guys also. And what we eventually want to do is, if we get enough traction with Shipmates, and we have all the SMEs in our system, and the shipments are growing, we can actually ask for lower rates also from couriers. And when that happens, we'll pass those savings also to you eventually. So we're basically saying that if you bet on us, we're betting on you as well. So yeah. Any support would be great.
Yay! Thank you for the support and the generous giveaway to our SMEs today. Maraming salamat. Oh, by the way, extended pa rin naman hanggang bukas, di ba?
I
Tama?
think so.
Offer. Basta
Yes.
throughout the expo. Oh, by the way, ito pa yung nag-hashtag pa. Sabi ni Shelly, sana daw po lahat may forever.
It's okay, it
Lahat ng
will come.
ating exhibitor. Thank you so much. And again, just in case, baka meron kayong product presentations, demo coming up in your booth, this would be the perfect opportunity to invite everyone once again. Do you have any schedules coming up for the...
Oh, no. But I would really appreciate it. The team is very young, so we're very active on Facebook, Instagram, and not yet TikTok, but hopefully soon. But yeah, please, if you can like our pages on all these platforms, and it will really go a long way in supporting tech companies here in the Philippines. There's a lot more, right? There's a lot more tech companies in the Philippines, but honestly, we really need the support of the Philippines also, because tech can't grow if the people don't support it, and that's really how we have to shift as a country also. So any support would be great. Just even a like on Facebook would be great. So yes.
Awesome. Thank you very much. You've heard it from the very young Shipmate CEO and co-founder, Mr. Josh Supan. Maraming salamat.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
for gracing our event this afternoon. Maraming salamat. Oh, and at this point, let me remind everyone we'll be back in a bit for more speakers. See you later.